The single biggest opportunity in business right now isn't an app, it isn't a course, and it sure isn't some complicated funnel. It's a lean, one-person, AI-powered service. And most people are just walking right past this. So by the end of this video here today, you'll know exactly how to build one. Let me give you a number that puts this into perspective. There are nearly 30 million small business owners operating in the US alone right now, and they're generating some $1.7 trillion in revenue with no employees and no office and like just one person with the right skills, the right tools, and just enough obsession to basically show up every day, right? The crazy part is the ones who build it around AI are running operating margins of 60 to 80%. Because their overhead is like practically nothing. And if you compare that to a traditional small business where you're lucky to keep 15 cents on the dollar after payroll and rent and those blood-sucking political taxes and everything else that bleeds you out, right? This is not a bubble. This is like a structural shift that's happening right now. And the window to get in early, it's still open, but it's not going to be there forever. Now, here's the thing that nobody wants to say out loud, though. MIT just published research showing that 95% of AI projects are failing to deliver any real financial results. That's not me misspeaking. 95%. And we're talking about companies with full teams and real budgets and like real people who are actually like technical and good at this stuff. So if you're a regular person sitting at your laptop trying to figure out how to build something with AI and someone online is selling you the idea of vibe coding your way to earn 10 grand a month, I need you to hear what I'm about to say, because it's going to save you a lot of time and money and stress and frustration. The advice isn't wrong because the person giving it is like evil. It's wrong because it skips the most important step in any business. Sell something before you build anything. So like watch what's actually happening right now. Every third video on YouTube right now is telling you to build an AI app. You know, just spin up a SaaS, just vibe code a tool, just launch your product over this weekend. And yeah, like that sounds great. Like you build it once and you know, it runs forever and it's passive income, like the whole story, right? But look, here's the reality. The overwhelming majority of apps that are built by first-timers never even make $100. Now, I'm not talking thousands of dollars, I'm talking $100, because building the thing is the easy part. Distribution is the whole game. And most people spend 3 months building something that nobody asked for in a market that they don't understand, and then they wonder why nobody's buying. Look, I've been around enough real businesses now to know that the fastest path to revenue is almost never the most complicated one. And here's where it gets interesting. What actually works for a one-person operation is this. You take some kind of a skill, like writing or research or outreach or content or analysis or customer communications or competitor research or hiring or support, whatever, and then you let AI do the heavy lifting. That's like the whole model. You're the person who understands what the client needs and what looks good, and AI is the engine that's running the background. And the client doesn't care how the meal gets made in the kitchen. It doesn't care how the sausage is made. It just wants to know how it tastes when it hits that table, right? And if the result is consistently good, they will keep paying you for it. And this is structurally different from a product because a service is just a promise. Like you sell it first and then you deliver it. There's no upfront build time. There's no guessing whether anybody wants it. Somebody pays you and now you go produce the result with the money that they just handed you. Like that's the structure you want from starting from scratch if you've got no audience and no following and no budget. Listen, I learned this the hard way, not from AI, but from my own life. I built a karate school back in the day from scratch after moving back to Minnesota. I had no venture capital, I had no investor deck. I just had like a skill I'd been developing since I was a kid and a little bit of a dream and just enough obsession to build it into one of the largest schools in the country. And the business model was simple. I knew how to teach something people wanted to learn and I charged for the outcome. Now, AI didn't even really exist yet at that point, at least not to the public, but the principle is identical. You take what you already know, you package it as a result, and you charge accordingly. The only difference now is that AI compresses your delivery time to like nothing. Now, the first question I always get is this: what do I actually sell? And this is where most people freeze up because they think that they need to find something totally new, some clever angle that nobody's ever thought of yet. And that's the wrong question entirely. So stop trying to find something new and start paying attention to what you already understand. Like what industry have you already spent time in? What problems come up over and over and over in your conversations? What can you look at immediately and know whether it's good or bad, or even if nobody ever gave you like a certificate for it, you knew. Your business idea is almost certainly already sitting inside of your experience in your own head. And AI doesn't change that. What it does is it lets you deliver it faster, at a higher volume, and at a level of quality that used to require a whole team of people. So let me make this more concrete because I find that, vague advice is usually what kills momentum. So if you've already worked in marketing, You already know what like a good email sequence looks like. Now AI helps you build and personalize one in 20 minutes instead of 2 days. If you've been in operations, you know how efficient processes look. And now AI can help you document and map them out for a client at like a fraction of the time. If you've ever done sales, you know how to write follow-up messaging that actually converts. Like AI can now let you do that to 20 prospects simultaneously. So the skill is yours. The speed is what belongs to the AI. And that combination is what you're selling. Here's something that you should reframe how you think about pricing and positioning. The businesses you're targeting already have this problem. They're already spending money on it. It's someone's salary, it's wasted hours, or a freelancer that they hired and maybe like they outgrew them. Like you're not introducing a new expense, you're replacing a worse version of one that they already have. So that changes the conversation entirely, like from the beginning. So pay attention here, because this next part is where people lose kind of the whole plot. Once you know what you're selling, you need to nail down how do you actually deliver it before you talk to a single potential customer. Like not during, before. And most people skip this step entirely. They get like all excited, they land their first conversation, and then they panic when someone actually says yes. So here's what you should do. Run your own process from start to finish before you sell it to anyone. Like use your service on a hypothetical client. Produce like a real sample output and sit with it and just ask yourself honestly, like, is this something I would pay for? If the answer is yes, like you're ready, cool. If not, you got to figure out what's missing. So when you can put something tangible in front of a prospect, an actual example of what they'll receive, the conversation changes completely. You're not asking them to like imagine it anymore. You're just showing it. And proof, as I always say, beats a sales pitch every single time on pricing. And this is the part that people get consistently wrong. Now let's talk about pricing. And this is the part that people get consistently wrong. Most beginners undercharge because they're scared. And look, I understand that instinct, but think about the actual value that you're creating. If someone is spending 8 hours a week doing something manually and you can produce a better result in like 30 minutes, you're worth real money to that person. You know, price for the outcome, not for the hours that you're spending. Somewhere between, $1,500, $3,000 a month is where most solid AI-powered service offers really kind of start, like chatbots and voice bots and all that stuff, right? Not because those are magic numbers, but because at that range, 2 or 3 clients gives you a real income, and the value that you're delivering justifies every penny of it. Now, the last piece is getting clients. And I'll be straight with you. There's no shortcut here. And anybody telling you otherwise is selling you something. You have to go talk to people. LinkedIn, cold email, warm referrals. It doesn't matter which channel you pick as long as you pick one that actually works and you work it every single day. So, you post about what you do. You show your work. You get on calls. You ask real questions about what people are struggling with. And then you solve the problem and ask for the business. Most people want like a magic button for this step. Like there isn't one. But here's what I've seen happen consistently across the board. When someone actually does this with discipline, they sign up clients. Not because they had like the best pitch, not because they had a big following, but because everybody else quits after like 3 messages. And most people are the ones like they're one conversation away from their first client. And they just don't know it because they stopped reaching out and they stopped following up. Here's something that's worth writing down. The businesses that are already using AI services are expanding their spend. Like they're not pulling back, they're doing more. And the businesses that haven't started yet are actively looking for someone they can trust to help them with it. That someone, that could be you, but only if you show up. A polished website and a perfect offer doesn't mean anything unless you're in front of people every single day. So here's the framework that I think actually works. Every day that you do the activity creates conversations. Conversations become phone calls, calls become clients, and it's not that complicated. Like the only variable is whether or not you'll do it consistently or whether you'll let yourself off the hook the second it feels uncomfortable. The real one-person AI businesses, they aren't about who builds the most impressive tool. It's about who is clear enough on their offer, consistent enough in their outreach, and obsessed enough to keep going when it would just be easier to quit, to stop. Strategy always beats size, but obsession is still the secret. Now listen, if you want to go deeper on how to find the right offer for your specific background, the thing that you can really actually charge real money for based on what you know, go watch this next video. And in right there, I'll show you exactly how to do it. Go watch it.